Skyrim has heaps of different weapons and spells to dispatch enemies with, but what if you were limited to only using them once? Once the enemy was defeated, that weapon or spell was off limits for the rest of the run. Well, let's find out. I sat through the longest opening in an Elder Scrolls game and got stared down by a horse who forced me to make my character. I went Redguard for the increase to melee combat since I figured I'd be using that the most. Then came Alduin to save the day. And after running around, I started the tutorial. But where the game tries to teach you the game, I just skipped past everything since I'm a pro gamer. No reason to waste my limited amount of kills on skippable enemies. Now, outside in the real world, I made a beeline for Helgen and then straight for Whiterun. Arriving in town, I kicked in the door of the Jarl's office and demanded adventure. When I started talking about flying sky lizards, he sent me to go find the Golden Claw in Bleak Falls Barrow. This was almost as eventful as the tutorial area. I ran past the bandits in the opening room and continued to run past everything that wasn't required to progress. However, when I got to Arvel, I punched the web he was in to break him free, and since nothing died, I didn't lose my fists as an option to put something down. But almost as soon as I freed Arvel, he was cut down a moment later by Draugr, allowing me to steal the claw and proceed to the big bad of the area himself, the Draugr Overlord. Normally this guy isn't too bad to beat on a playthrough, but since I had to think of what weapon I wanted to lose here, it was a difficult assessment. I ended up going with my fists, as using them later in the run would just end up getting me killed. So after 15 minutes of slapping this 80s metal cover art poster boy, I took him down, got the Dragonstone, and returned to the Jarl, only for a word of a dragon attacking a tower to reach my ears. So I went to investigate, and sure enough there was a dragon terrorizing the countryside. However, I didn't have to waste a weapon here as the guards were making short work of the dragon. But that was not to say it didn't put up a fight. Some poor dude got chewed on and thrown about, but in the end the dragon was defeated and I ate its soul. After the Jarl of Whiterun learned about my unusual appetite, he told me to go talk to some scholars in the mountains, and even gave me a direct path to get there. But that path was a no-go as it ran around the mountains, and I was determined to climb straight up. After about 20 minutes of jumping up the mountain, I reached the throat of the world, missing my target altogether. So then I had to slide back down the mountain and meet with the Greybeards. They had me yell at them for a bit and then taught me how to become Sonic. All was looking well until they told me about a horn in a spooky cave that I needed to go retrieve before they could teach me a super strong shout. So I was off to go find said spooky cave. On the way I found a mud crab and tried to taunt it, but then accidentally shield bashed it. I couldn't just leave it like this, so I bashed it to sleep with my iron shield. But having offended the mud crab god in the sky, he sent a hit squad out to kill me and avenge the slain ally. The hit squad chased me into the cave, but were soon cut down by Draugr. Only issue is, now I was being chased through this place by Draugr. I did my absolute best to just heal, but eventually I had what felt like every enemy in this place chasing me down. And in Skyrim, when you go through a door, the enemies come with you, normally in front of you. I died so many times trying to find a solution to not kill these guys, but it was inevitable. I was going to have to do something. So, I used a scroll of fireball to thin out the crowd, and then used the flame spell to take down an injured foe, leaving just the big man himself. And for him I decided a pickaxe would be his send-out. I used a lot of items here, but it had to be done. Once I had regained my headspace, I did some parkour down a huge ledge and made it to the chest containing the horn I needed, only to find a note asking me out on a date. So, it was off to Riverwood for me, but as soon as I made it to the town, I was attacked by some cultists. Luckily, these guys pissed off the local guards and had the whole town swarm them. But this was all a plus for me, as I didn't have to lose any weapons and got some gear in the process. After surviving my first assassination attempt of the run, I met up with Delphine, who being a member of the Blades Guild from Oblivion, wanted to take me out dragon hunting. But before we left, I made sure to take some much needed weapons to add some options for later. After a quick carriage ride and a quick walk over to a dragon burial site, Alduin resurrected a dragon and it was up for us to kill it. But by us, I meant Delphine would kill it while I just kept healing myself. And after about 5 minutes of waiting, Delphine pulled through and I got another dragon snack. After a job well done, I went back to the Greybeards and got yelled at. Then met up with Delphine again to progress the main quest. After proving how great at combat I was then tasked with infiltrating an elven party and finding out if they knew anything about the dragons coming back to life, regardless of the fact that we just watched Alduin do it. I made my way to a contact and gave him all my weapons to smuggle in for me, and after getting dressed up, it was time to do the mission. I arrived in style, and once inside the party area began to work my magic, and by work my magic, I mean let every single guard know I was doing the wrong thing. So now I was being chased down while still trying to complete this quest. However, remember the Draugr coming through the doors with me? Yeah, the elves did the same thing here, except the problem was they hit way harder. But the worst part about all of this was because I was trying to avoid conflict, my damage output was terrible, and getting swarmed led to 30 minutes of dying over and over again. I was essentially just trying to figure out whoever had the key to leave this place, and I just could not live long enough to find it out. However, I did find out I had the Voice of the Emperor, a once-a-day special ability to calm all hostiles for 60 seconds. Not only did this give me some room to breathe, but it also made all the elves -1 leave the area. This didn't kill anyone, but since it did directly impact the enemies, I treated this as my one-time use. Once I regained my footing, I attacked the elf still in the room. I used an orc greatsword to take him out. But luckily this guy had the key I needed and I was able to leave the mission. But I had to use the Iron Warhammer to take down another elf before making a run straight for the exit and returning to Skyrim. I made my way back to Delphine and told her this quest was a bust as all the info I had retrieved came up with nothing. So I was instead sent to Riften to talk to a contact who would have a better chance of finding out about Alduin. Only problem is, when I got to Riften, I was swindled into doing a job for the Thieves Guild, and I messed it up so badly that I even got arrested. So after losing a lot of my goods and basically all of my money, I was told I could find Delphine's contact in the sewer system underneath Riften. And after trying to navigate through the tight corridors of the sewers, I ran across some bandits who chased me all the way to the Thieves Guild. Except the Thieves Guild members would not help me kill these guys, so I had to take matters into my own hands. I had to use an elven mace to get rid of one of the bandits and an elven dagger to take out an archer. But as if that wasn't bad enough, the elves I left behind at the party tracked me down to finish the fight, all the way below Riften? I guess fuck me, right? So an ancient Nord sword and an ancient Nord mace, an iron sword and an iron war axe later, the second assassination attempt was over. So after finally getting the info I needed, I made my way through the sewers to Esbern, the contact I was sent to find. But when we went to leave, I had to run past more elves and fugitives alike, just to make it out of here without using any more weapons. When we got back to Delphine, Esbern told us of a Skyhaven temple, a place where we would learn the secrets to beat Alduin. So of course that's where our party was heading. Except there was a Forsworn encampment and a dragon flying around attacking everyone. This isn't normally that big of a deal as you could just run into the temple, but trust me, this would create such a big problem. So we made it inside the temple, and I had to use a steel dagger of sparks and a Forsworn sword to deal with the bouncers. And then I did some light puzzles to make it to the end of the temple, only for Esbern to be nowhere in sight. Which is bad because he creates a prompt to proceed, and without that prompt, you ain't going nowhere. So I found a bed to sleep and thought that maybe this would just teleport him inside, but it didn't. Which meant this guy was outside fighting Forsworn and dragons just for the hell of it. So in an attempt to go find him, I ran outside and became a distraction just so he could head back inside. But I ended up dying, only for Esbern to magically be inside the temple when I reloaded in. Skyrim never ceases to amaze me. So now, the entire party inside this place, Esbern and Delphine looked at a mural on the wall, and I was now being sent to the Greybeards to get more info. However, the Greybeards told me I had to go talk to their boss and gave me some new shouts to get to the area that I had already proven I could just climb to. But now, at the throat of the world, I spoke with Parthenax, who told me I needed to go find an Elder Scroll to get the knowledge I seek. It's just one big continuous fetch quest at this point. Leave it up to some ancient dragon to tell me to go read a scroll. But at least he did tell me where it was, being the College of Winterhold, a school of mages that normally I skip if I can help it. But when I got there, a dragon started to attack the town, preventing me from getting access to said college. No problem, I thought. I'll just wait for the guards to take it out. Oh wait, what? What's that? Oh, it killed everyone in town? Looks like a job for my wooden axe. But at least with the dragon dead, I gained access to the college and got the info for the Elder Scroll I was chasing. I just had to go visit a hermit in a frozen tundra literally on the back end of town. But he was nice enough to give me some tools for a puzzle, and with that I was off to Blackreach. This place had tons of robot spiders and traps and leads straight into Falmer territory, but since I ran past everything, this was all just a bump in the road. I made it to the infamous Lexicon puzzle, and I just kept pushing buttons until the puzzle was solved. But now with the Elder Scroll in hand, I headed back to Paarthurnax to learn its secrets. Upon opening up said Elder Scroll, I saw some homies get their shit kicked in by Alduin, and then he rolled up to check my vibe. But where this would be a walk in the park for most players, I decided I would use an iron knife to fight this airborne iguana. And boy did it take a long time. 30 minutes of stabbing, healing, and tactically retreating, before Alduin had enough and flew home to lick his wounds. But you want to know what my reward was? Not a cool weapon or anything, but a quest chain leading to a 20-minute council just so I could use the Jarl's party spot to catch and extract info from a dragon. Man, times in Skyrim are tough, I tell ya. But at least I was able to get the dragon to do me a solid and give me a lift to the next zone. But this next zone was wild. I was running through tons of Draugr, solving puzzles, and surprisingly, I didn't have to kill anyone until I got to an overlord who got chopped up by an Falmer axe to grab a claw for a puzzle. But at least once I made it past that, I was able to just run and smack a mage's stick to jump through a portal into an alternate dimension, and then had to fight a bouncer for passage. So long, Cold Greatsword, I hardly knew ya. I made it into a feast hall and recruited some homies. We went outside and yelled at the sky for a little bit, and Alduin came by to shut us up. But with the three heroes drawing all aggro and I hanging back while drawing my dwarven bow, the feisty lizard was taken down, and with that I beat Skyrim only using each weapon once. Honestly, I didn't expect to have any trouble with this run, but because I was constantly avoiding combat and using different styles of weapons, I was never doing enough damage to take out enemies fast enough, and I got stuck on bad autosaves more than enough times that it made me take a break from playing. But at the same time, it did make the run feel new, and I was using things that I normally wouldn't use. And all in all, I say it was a nice change of pace. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, or if you have a suggestion for a challenge run, make sure to leave it in the comments below. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any videos in the future. And as always, I have been Chris from Crisis Gaming, and I will see you on the next one.